What's up, everyone? My name is Ruben, and today we're doing a deep dive into Headspin. I don't have a fancy intro. We're getting right into it. Are you ready? Oh, no fancy intro. We're going to help you today understand Headspin. We've had a few questions pop up, and I want to make everything clear for you and help you build websites faster. So whenever you install Headspin, let's get in here. I got my coffee, so I might be taking a few sips. I'm waking up. So whenever you install Headspin, let's get out of here. Click here, click here. Sorry, I was messing around. You're gonna be dropped off on your tokens. Before we get into tokens right now, we're not gonna get into it, and we're gonna get into it in this video, but not right now. You're presented with 4 options. We have your project, we have your theme, we have your color palettes, and then we have tokens. So starting from the top, now we're here, right? Oops. We're starting from the top. And I have some notes here that I wanted to make sure that we cover. So I'm going to be referring those notes back and forth here. So your project settings is your project tab, your settings in your project. It's helping you export all your settings, because what's going to happen is in this release in 1.1.1, we introduce tokens. So you're going to be able to create your own variable system inside of Headspin to use in Breakdance. And if you're not a power user, you might not need to export it, but if you are a power user and you create a sophisticated system, you can now export that and bring it into any project, right? You save that file, install Headspin, install the file, and then all your tokens are there, right? So that's this. If you want to reset your app, you want to reset Headspin from 0, you can hit that big red button. I don't recommend doing it now because you're going to delete everything and it's lost forever, right? So the next major thing you will see here inside of Headspin is the theme. The theme has a couple different options for you, right? So by default, Headspin presents to you, the user, a light website, right? A light website. And then you can make it dark. So we override Breakdance and give you an inverted website. So, right, anything that's white by default will be dark, and everything that's dark will be light. So the background is now dark and the text is now light. So you can on the fly switch your website back and forth if you need to, or if you know you're starting off a dark website, you can go right into it. Boom, hit that setting, and by default, you can start building and designing, and everything just works. Right? We have a very, very sophisticated contrast algorithm. Either one would work. You can select. You can leave it by default, and it's going to be perfectly aligned. Whenever you select colors, your contrast will be perfect, right? The next item on the agenda is the project radius. What does this mean? I don't know if you can tell. Let me see if I can zoom in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can tell here, these pictures or these images have little radiuses, right? So what's going to happen is, if you start designing your website with a bunch of different radiuses and the client comes back and says, man, I want you to take them all off. You go here, you hit none. All the images that have radiuses, it's now gone. So it's like a global setting to help you. Let me zoom out. Let me go here. Okay, that's a little better. It's a global default for all your radiuses on all the items that you use it, right? So it's based on where you use the token inside of your project. So you can either turn them off, hit none, or turn them on, bring them or make them more aggressive if you want. You can change all of them at one time. So that's all that means, right? The next few items on the tab here, you have page. Let me see if I can zoom in. You have page, typography, and settings, right? So if you click this little folder icon here, I made it bigger so you can kind of see it. This little folder icon, I know it's blurry. I just took a screenshot to get this video recorded. So here you hit the little folder icon, it opens up your website. Here, let me zoom out. 100%. So all this means is if you go here to page width, and let's say you want a 700 page width, you want a newspaper style website, hit 700, hit save. Now everything will be compressed to only 700 pixels. If you want to change it back, hit this little red icon, the little reload icon, and it goes back to what the default was for Headspin. You can adjust the gap, the column gap, and then the offset, right? The padding, the gutter on the left and the right side. You can adjust that if you want. But by default, I think it's perfect. This is my favorite size page width. So that's what we have. Then we have another option here called typography. We have a couple quick shortcuts for you. So the font size here, you can manually, or excuse me, you can, this is like a quick push up. You can scale up to 7. It's a stair step, right? So whenever you have the default settings, you can stair step it up. And then we give you the options for line height. Here, let me go hit an extreme version of the line height. Here, I have it here. Okay, if you notice the text in the blue box here, right? And then the text here in this blue box, this heading. If you change it to 1, it's gonna compress it together based on the font size. It's based on the font size, so it's perfectly mathematically perfect for your font. But we did notice if you use different fonts, this may cause an issue, right? Because if you notice here, the line height, they're kind of overlapping, but it's perfect because the font looks good. So if you experience any issues with the line height, with the text are clashing into each other, you can go in here under typography and then turn it off. And then your line height will be gone. It'll be just the default line height for breakdance, right? So another thing to understand is if you use a random number, like if you use, let's say, for example, this text I just highlighted is 10 pixels or 2 rem in distance, for example. Headspin does not control that. So the builder always overrides your settings, right? So obviously here it's different because I made a change manually. So if you make anything manual changes, it's not going to override the builder. It will never override the builder, right? Then under the settings button, it's right behind me and it looks like this. It looks like a little gear, right? Little panel switchers or something. It gives you a cool table to show you a visual representation of what the clamp system inside of Headspin does whenever you have different font sizes. So you can see what happens at H1, at this breakpoint. It kind of gives you an idea of what the font will do. It's not fixed font. Like, for example, it's a responsive font. So it's going to scale with your page width. So for example, let's say the page is 900 pixels, right? In the middle here, like here, it's not going to be 49, but it's also in H2, it's also not going to be 57, right? It might be 53. So it gives you like a bird's eye view of what the font will be within that range. So it helps you understand that. We also have a quick multiply for spacing. If you want to make quick adjustments to your spacing, if you use our components or our tokens inside your website, you can change that quickly, or you can go in here and fine tune it using the advanced settings, right? So you have an option to do that as well. So you can make adjustments. Hey, I want my medium to be 100. I want it to be 75. I want it to be 30 or X. So you make all the setting changes and you go from there. So you can play around with it if you want and then make some changes here. What's next? I had to write this down because my mind goes crazy and sometimes I forget things, but this helps me kind of break things down. So I hope you're able to understand what everything means. So, okay, let me go in here. going back to the previous topic of the spacing. So whenever you are inside of, let me open this. Let me open this new page. Oops. So let me open up Breakdance. It's talking about whenever you go in here and then you add a, let me see, I didn't add a gap here. So if you add a gap, the spacing here is a medium, right? So it's a medium gap spacing between this element and this element, right? The text and then the image. You can make a global change here, not here, here, and change the distance if you want it to be a little bit higher. Let's say you want the starting point to be 40, right? So you're going to be able to change that, and then it'll move. It's hard to tell because it's so little, but it always grows with you. So you're able to tell what medium will be here. So now I know medium on this page, medium will be 40 on desktop, 40 inches or 40 inches. Oh my God, 40 pixels. Yeah, let me zoom in. Hope you can see that. So you're able to make an adjustment after the fact. So if you're not happy with the spacing, you can go in here and set up your perfect spacing and then use it within your project. Or you can always just start building, then go back and fine tune things if you want, right? If you're like, man, I use 40, or I really like to use 32. I don't know why I like to use 32, and that's what I did Headspin at. So if you don't like it, change it. And then just to let you know, everything is responsive and flows perfectly mathematically in your project. So let me zoom out. Zoom, 100. Okay. Right. So the next cool thing about the color palette, or the cool thing about Headspin, is the color palette, right? So we give you two colors by default. We'll give you the brand color, and then it would give you the neutral, the dark colors, the whites, the blacks, right? So let me see here, not here. I want to show you something here. Nope, I'll get into that topic a little bit later, so let me not go forward. Okay, so we give you two colors, right? The brand color and then the neutral color, the backgrounds, right? So we give you Breakdance and Headspin, or excuse me, Headspin creates 12 variants for you to use inside of your project, right? It can be borders, backgrounds, but it gives you 12 different variants, right? And then we give you 12 different neutral colors to use on your background, on your website. So inside of Headspin, you will see these two colors, right? So we have two options. You hit this little pencil and you can pre-select one of the colors that are built into Headspin, right? Based on the radix system. So let's say y'all want to use this teal. Hit save. Now your entire website here, it should update, would change. So now anytime you use that brand color inside of your project, it's going to change here. It changes better here in the hot switch. Or excuse me, when it's open. So what this replaces inside of your panel here in Headspin, excuse me, in Breakdance, is your brand color. So if you install Headspin on an existing project, you can delete the brand color, because we kind of take over that brand color for you. It's going to be number 9, and that will take over all of Breakdance. So you can go here and delete these. You can delete all 5 of them: the brand, the text, the headings, the highlights, the links, and then the background. You can delete all that because we take over this panel here. And then the only thing you have to do, if you switch colors inside of a project after the fact, the only thing you have to do is just resync. Technically, these colors here, right here, right, the other way, right there, these colors right there are technically green, because this is just a representation of the token system inside of Headspin. So you can still keep building. For example, here, let me add a section. And let me make this section here. You see it's blue here though, but it's gonna come out green because it's just a representation of the token system that we've created. The only problem is if that annoys you, all you have to do is open up the palette, go back to Headspin on the back. So you have both tabs open, hit sync, hit run sync. Now it's gonna be green. So it's up to you. If it bothers you, you can change it. If it doesn't, you can build the website, then sync it after the fact if you want to. But it controls anytime this is a default button. So whenever you use button, it will take over the brand color. So whenever you import frames from different providers, right, it would automatically convert if they use the brand color. If they use that to stylize their frames, boom, you're done, right? Then we have an option for transparencies here. So we close this. There's a little icon here so we can give you the variance of transparencies. And now if you use this variable, you have to add the little A after the fact for alpha. And you can create transparencies for overlays, for backgrounds, for different elements, right? But we are improving this. We've had a conversation with Ronaldo to see ways to improve this, and we've come up with a cool system that to be easier for us to apply alphas or transparencies to your project using the variable. The same thing with the neutral. So here, we give you 12 different options. You can use that. Sorry guys, I had to sneeze. This is almost like a live video. We give you 12 different options for you to use inside of your projects. The cool thing about the Radix system is that it kind of color matches your brand color with the neutral color. For example, it gives you kind of tinted shades, right? So if you want a tinted green, a tinted yellow, this little greenish yellowish color, purplish tint, or just neutral, just grays. So you have an ability to select what kind of grays you want, right? So you have that option as well. And the same thing with the neutral overlays. If you want to use a dark overlay, we have, you can use this variable inside of your project. I'll show you how that looks like here. You go here, you go to the container. What is it here? Background overlays, and you just add it here, right? And you can change it here. 9. Let me see, do an extreme. So it kind of gives you different options. The only thing you have to do at this moment is type it out. But we are working on a system that you can use our pop-up. Oops, you can't use it here. But you're going to be able to use the pop-up to create. You're going to be able to use this. Why is it not working today? I'm not having good luck today, guys. I'll figure this out here in a second. So you're able to use the pop-up, right? So then we install. I'm going to take a little mental break off that. It's always when you're recording video, something doesn't work. So we have a pop-up inside the builder. I'm gonna find out here in a second why it's not working. Well, we also give you 12 pre-made, or excuse me, we give you plenty of pre-made colors that are designed from the Radix system. So you can add that quickly into your project, right? You can add more colors. You want to create a color. Here are the options. If you want to add your own custom color, you can, right? So boom, you can do that there. I don't recommend adding a bunch of colors. Maybe if you need more than 5 colors, something's wrong. I don't think you need that many colors, but you can have fun with Headspin, right? So you pick a color, you add it. We give you the light theme version and a dark theme version of the colors. You just run a sync, you sync it into Breakdance, and you're good to go, right? So now let's get into the meat and potatoes of Headspin. and it is our token system. We give you 100% control of Headspin. There's no more. We control things and you can't change a setting. We give you all the options here below. You have your heading color. So remember I said that we control this here, the brand, the text, the headings, the link in the background. All the settings are here on the back end. Headings, text, background, brand color, brand hover, link color, right? It's all here for you to adjust at any moment, right? So I'm going to go here. So the first thing I want to look at here is the left section here. So under headings, you can actually go in there and change the color of the file. So all you have to do is either click the little dot and you can switch. So let's say I want all my headings to be this lighter color. You're going to notice here, this is super light. So you can globally change all the heading colors pretty quickly. Let's say you want all the heading colors to be green, a dark green color. It's hard to tell that color. Let me just do the brand color. But you can adjust it there. I'm trying to look at the monitor, see. You see, all your headings now become green. So whenever you're building websites, you can control all the colors of all your headings using the panel. Back here, I want it dark again. Okay. Then you have your text color. You can do the same thing with the text color here. I'm going to change that to the brand color. And you notice here, it changed. So now you have global control of all your text elements, right? But just remember, if you went in there and manually added a color to it, if you added a color like a red, it's not going to control that. It doesn't overwrite that. Same thing with the background color. You can change that. You can change your brand color, right? You can change the brand hover, the hover state. You can change the link and the link cover. So you have all the control. Then on the opposite side of that, we give you all the dark mode. So whenever you're in dark mode, you can change the heading colors, the text colors, the background color, the main background color, the brand colors you want to use in dark mode. Sometimes the dark mode may need to change because if your color looks amazing on, like say you use like a dark maroon red for a logo color, looks great on white, but it may not look great on black, that maroon dark color on a black background. So you can go in here and change the brand color when you're in dark mode. So you can have technically two different brand colors, right? Going at the same time. So if you design something in light mode and man, I really want it to be dark mode after the fact, you go in there and make the change, dark mode. Then you go in there and change the brand color to something that looks good in dark mode. So you can do that as well. And underneath that section here, this section here, it's a universal control to all your, it's an override to all your font sizes. So for example, this here is an H1, but I really want this H1 to be the sizes of H2. So you hit that, you hit save. Now all your H1s become the size of H2. So you can go and make global changes to all your fonts, right? You have, or I want H1s to be jumbo. I want it to be H0. I call it jumbo. You want to be a jumbo font. You can go in there and globally address all. Every time you use the tag H1, it's going to address all of them inside of your project. So that's a really cool, quick override to your entire project here. So that's cool. We also have, like I said, the global colors, going back and recapping that. The global colors go in and change all the breakdance. So go in the breakdance. When you install Headspin, delete brand, text, heading, link, background. Delete all those. We control that, right? So then another cool thing about Headspin is we give you control of all the font sizes. So if you need a specific font, so remember, you created all the font sizes here based on a scale system. But if you're really, 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 really like specific, I need the H1 to be 100 and I really need H1 to be 93 pixels, right? You can go in there, you can unlink it. So oh, excuse me. So I'm just used to doing it. I just do it. You go here, click on this little settings, unlink it, and then unlinks it from the advanced typography settings. And you can go in here and change. I want all my H1s to be 90. So now I'll make an extreme change so you can kind of see it better. Here, my H1 here. Now this is 90 pixels. Let me change it to 25, just so you can kind of see the extreme version of it. So now you can go in there, specifically say, at desktops, I want you to be 90 pixels. And on mobile, I need you to be 45 pixels, or let's say 50 pixels. So you can go in there and then change it and be very specific if you want to be specific. If you want to be that detailed, you can. But you have control over all the fonts, the jumbo, H1 through H6, right? You have control over the font sizes, small, medium, and large. You have control over all the spacing, the space component inside of the pop-up, right? You have control over the section spacing. So you can go, and then you have control over the border radiuses. You have control, infinite control, and type in whatever number you want, but understand that it is responsive. So it's just not a fixed number. It will be responsive based on your project or on the project. Sorry, I have allergies today in Texas. It's wilding. So now we give you infinite control, right? So you have Headspin gives you these options. We control, this is what we control: the headings, font size, the text font sizes. We give you some spacing variables, section spacing variables, and then border radiuses. That's what we control inside of Breakdance. So now you can go in there and make all the changes you want. But another cool thing that we've created is using custom variables. So if you want to create your own variables, for example, we don't have any width variables. We don't have any to be able to control things, right, on the width aspect of things. So for example, this variable here, which ones do I have? Okay, medium and large. Let me go scroll down here. Okay. Here I have a custom variable of a size, and I named it width medium. So before, it stretched across the entire website. Right here, you see that. Instead of using like a fixed number here, 600 pixels, for example, you can use a variable you create, and you know that you can go back and change it whenever you need to. So now understand that I use width medium. I'll go back to my framework, and I know width medium, the max it would ever be will be 700 pixels. But let's say, man, I really need this to be 1000 pixels wide. Now it changes, right? So I'll do an extreme, and let's do the max would be 557. And it squeezes in. So now you're able to create your own custom variables on the fly. So now your imagination is the limit to what you can create. So now when you can create your own little mini framework, because we wanted to give you the stepping stones, right? Give you the blocks, stepping stone blocks for you to build something amazing, right? Because trying to create something for every possible scenario, we're going to go crazy. So what we do is address the basics and give you the tools to create your own, right? So for example, I created my own color variable. I called it Reuben Red. Here. I called it Reuben Red. And now I can use this variable anywhere on this website. So if I click here, let me copy it and I'll show you. So let's go up to the neutral colors here. Dude, sorry, it's taking so long. So like here, this div, right? I'm using the neutral color, so I'm gonna get rid of this, add my variable. Now you're able to add Ruben-red anywhere on the website and then apply it to backgrounds, to text, to different things, right? You're able to apply it anywhere you want, where your little buttons, you name it, you can use it, right? So let's say, man, I really want a different color red. I don't like that red. I'm going to use a different red. So now you go in here, you create your variable, you switch the color. I use a Texas burnt orange, hit save, and it changes. So you're able to go and make your own color variables, right? Because sometimes you have a brand color, but then you need the logo. Like for example, one of my clients has a really beautiful logo. It's a teal logo, but it has a couple different highlights that I want to pull. And I don't need to create 12 swatches of it, right? 12 variants. I just need that one color. I need that one blue, that one red, so I can use it, sprinkle it into the website. Now you can do that, right? And then we give you a dark version and a light version. So for example, here I have burnt orange for the light mode, and then I have red for the dark mode. So I'm gonna go in here, go to theme, go to dark mode, and you're gonna notice now that it's red. You see? Isn't that powerful? We're giving you the ability to create your own. Sorry about the naming convention. The idea was to just do with, and then I thought about just adding the colors. But you can name it whatever you want. So now you're able to create your own colors. So all you have to do here, let me hit the X here, delete, yes. So add a token, and then you have three options. You can do a colored token, a fluid token, or just a plain variable token. Like if you want to do a radius, right? You can do that. Or you can do, I'm trying to think of different things. Whenever I record videos, I forget everything. So I apologize, guys. But you have the ability to create 3 different styles of tokens. So I'm super excited on this update here. Let me see. So you can create different tokens, different width. In this example, the colors can change. So remember, I used Ruben red. I was able to do a light mode color, dark mode color, in case in case the color's a little darker and you want a different version when you use light mode and dark mode. So you're able to do that. And that is Headspin in a nutshell, right? So obviously we're giving you the foundation, and I need you to create something special. Are you ready to create something special? I hope you are. My name is Ruben, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great one.